Welcome to the show, Gearheads. Lando Norris wins the Mexico Grand Prix and retakes the Drivers' Championship lead.
It's a day he won't forget. He won. He wiped the floor. That lap in qualifying was sensational. A 15.5. And he just, just got faster and faster as the day went on.
He literally ran away with this thing. That gap that Lando finished with was over 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Did you know that is the biggest gap since Hungary 2023 when Verstappen won by 33 seconds? It's also the second biggest in the entire ground effect era.
Wow.
That was a massive victory.
Huge.
By Lando. And like you said, it started with that lap in qualifying where he was 0.3 ahead of everybody, which in that qualifying world is a big gap.
No question.
A massive victory for Lando and a seismic shift, even though it's only 1 point now between Max Verstappen and Oscar Piastri. It is such a mental thing, right? That Piastri's led this championship now for almost 2 months more, and now actually it's been more than that, but it's a long time.
Piastri's led it since April.
Yeah, since April, and now that Lando's taken it over, you have to, from a mental standpoint, it's got to be a big leap for Piastri now.
I said during the race to you that the 4.5 point swing was significant, and that psychologically it would give the impetus to Norris. But now 1 point, it doesn't bother me. It may as well be equal because you can't. There's no 1 point finish. Yes, for 8th and 9th or whatever in a sprint race. So I may be wrong there. I might be counting my chickens. But my point being that 1 point is like, well, okay, it's equal.
It's equal, but still, he's had a nice big lead for a long time.
Oh yeah, it was 34 points at 1 point.
Yeah, so this is a big deal, and of course, Max Verstappen closed that gap down a little bit too. So we'll get to all the stats, but that the finish to that race was really fun to watch because Ollie Behrman was being chased down by Oscar Piastri, and Ollie held on to his fourth position, which gives him his best finish in Formula One and ties Haas F1's best ever finish Romain Grosjean had back in 2018. And of course, Ollie Behrman runs away with the driver of the day.
No surprise.
Yeah, no surprise. Absolutely. I think like 40% of the vote. So what a finish to the race. And let's look at this, Jonathan. So Lando Norris wins the race, followed by Leclerc, Verstappen, Behrman, then Piastri, Antonelli, Russell, Hamilton, Ocon, and Bortoleto up into the points.
Yeah, but that's an important point for Sauber for sure.
Yep. Followed by Tsunoda, Albon, Hadjar, Stroll, Gasly, Colapinto, and then Sainz, Alonso, Hulkenberg, and Lawson did not finish the race. So, yeah. Greeny, what do you think?
Yeah, it was one of those races that had, pretty much had everything. It started off whang bam, thank you, ma'am, and no question.
Yep. All right, now we want to welcome our local listeners here in Austin, but wow, what a fantastic race by Lando Norris, finishing by over 30 seconds ahead of Leclerc, Verstappen, and Behrman in fourth. Great finish to this race.
It had everything. It had wham, bam, thank you, ma'am at the start, like I said, and it then tapered off as we expected it to, where everybody kind of sorted themselves out. I think there was a change of strategy mid-race. I think most of them had started with
the idea. There's a few of those.
Well, I think they started with the idea of doing a one-stop and then realized that that they weren't going to get there. The hard tire just didn't work. So, yeah, bottom line is everybody jumps in and everybody gets to the medium. And away we go. And there was some just outstanding performances all through the grid.
Yeah, you're right. We had Norris and Leclerc both did a one-stop, and so did Verstappen. But then most of the next few further down the grid had two stoppers, and most of the rest of the field was one stop. Of course, Sainz, I don't know how many he ended up with. I think three. Yeah, three for Carlos Sainz. That was a nightmare race for him.
Oh, it was an awful weekend for Carlos Sainz, right from
really,
going in there, really.
Well, honestly, for Williams.
Yeah.
And let's talk about what's happened to the Constructors' Championship, because obviously McLaren's won, but Haas F1 made a big leap because Ocon also finished in the points. And so let's see if we can get the...
It's not updated yet on the official site, but to me, yes, they will go into 8th. ahead of Kick Sauber, but then less than 10 points away from Aston Martin.
Yeah,
which
they'll
is
be
really
62 was what they'll have. So they'll be in 8th place ahead of Sauber and Alpine.
So
and then
six
69
behind.
for Aston Martin. So they're within 7 points of Aston Martin. And Racing Bulls is only at 72. So they're only 10 behind Racing Bulls.
That could be a real shift for Haas if they can keep this impetus going.
Well, think about it. They brought these upgrades to Austin last week.
Sure.
And so if these upgrades keep working like they're
working. 2 completely different tracks too, which means it bodes really well.
Really
They've been
good
competitive at
really
both sea level and,
Yeah. And 7,200 feet above sea level.
Sure.
Yeah, Austin is like 500 feet above sea level.
I worked it out. I dreamt this last night. Nine towers.
9 towers.
9 Coda Towers.
Oh, 9 Coda Towers is the elevation of Mexico?
Yeah.
That's good. That's good. So think about this. So Williams is 10 points ahead, right? Well, I know this is pretty uncharacteristically miserable, but if they have another miserable weekend and Haas continues, they could even catch They could catch 5th place.
That's a little.
Hey, it's only 10 points.
Yeah.
It's only 10 points.
Fair enough.
Oh, wait. Sorry. It's 10 points to Racing Bulls. Excuse me. They're not going to catch Williams. Sorry.
No, they could catch Racing Bulls for 6.
That's
though.
right.
And
they're
currently
8th. They could move
9th.
up 2.
Yeah.
Sorry, you're
9th.
right. I was dreaming a little too hard there.
Yeah.
But also, another change of position. Ferrari moves
up,
into 2nd ahead of Mercedes by 1 point again.
Yeah, pretty impressive.
Yeah.
And that's going to be a really good battle. Both those teams want to be runner-up. It's too late now to catch McLaren, but both of them want to be runner-up.
Man, but what a fun race for all the different little mini battles, right?
Yeah.
Especially at the start. And do you agree when it happened? So when at the beginning of the race we had both Verstappen and Hamilton off track. Verstappen did not get penalized, but Hamilton did. You were saying, well, wait a minute, hang on a minute.
Yeah, and I said whatever happens, because they took a while to do it. I said whatever happens, they both need the same penalty.
And that was not what happened.
That's not what happened.
Hamilton got, 10-second? Was it a 10-second penalty?
Yeah, he got a 10-second, which he actually took in his pit stop.
And honestly, for taking that and finishing in, let's see, was it, they've just updated the website, so now I got to go to the results page, but let's see where Hamilton finished. I think it was 8th. Yeah, Hamilton finished 8th.
Yeah.
So considering the 10-second penalty.
Did well.
That's a good finish. The other battles that were going on between the Russell-Antonelli battle there with them swapping positions and then swapping back after Piastri passed George Russell, because Oscar Piastri was hunting down Russell because he was behind Antonelli for several laps. And I don't think I've heard Russell get that. I mean, he was dropping F-bomb after F-bomb.
Wasn't happy, was he?
He was not happy, saying, you need to let me around Antonelli.
Yeah. And then Antonelli and then Antonelli inverted because he wasn't on the pace.
Well, they let Russell past. Team orders. Russell goes ahead of Antonelli, and then a few laps later, Piastri catches him, passes George Russell, and then Antonelli waited about 5 seconds and said, "Excuse me, are we swapping back now?" And they did, and Antonelli finished ahead of Russell in 6th. What do you think about that whole interaction?
Between what? Between Russell
Russell and Antonelli and the team.
I think what I remember thinking at the time, Toto's not there, and they explained that, and I think you wouldn't have had the outburst from George,
right?
With Toto there. I think there was some liberties taken, but I also think when head teachers away, decisions that normally wouldn't happen that way, and that's what really got the ire of Russell, because he's like, "What the hell are you doing? Give me information. Give me information I need, and are you guys on the case today?"
Yeah. So knowing what we know now, it's much easier to say, "Well, you shouldn't have let Russell by because it didn't make any difference in the end." Would that same thing have happened with Toto there?
Well, yeah, it's hard to say.
It's hard to say. That is true. It's hard to say. The Red Bull Racing radio fiasco where Jean-Paul JP, he had the wrong button pushed and was putting stuff in Max's ear that he didn't need to hear.
No,
talking about.
Well, he didn't know whether it was a 1 or a 2 stop.
Yeah, the number of stops. That's right. And Max said, "Hey, I'm here. I can hear you.
Yeah,
I'm in the room."
Yeah, I know. No kidding. And he was trying to basically ward them off, spreading it to everybody, but it was too late.
Well, what this does, I mean, this gives us a fantastic final 4 races to the season with 1 point between the 2 champions.
Well, any thought of papaya rules is out the window now.
Yeah.
Because you can't be, hey, you get to decide who to pits for. No. I would have argued, and it's happened in MotoGP. They even put a wall up between two guys, but it will go now to cloak and dagger. Those teams will go their separate ways now.
Yeah,
I think there'll be less and less sharing.
2 drivers going for a championship is what I was going to say. And
Sorry.
No, I was just saying 2 championships. They're 2 going for the championship for their first championship, and I just feel like you're probably right. The gloves are going to come off. I mean, it's going to be. I mean, especially if you get down to the final race, nobody's going to listen to anything.
No,
they're just going to race and go for it.
And Karun made this point, I think, last week in Austin was this could be their only chance. Ask Jenson Button.
Exactly.
Ask Jack Villeneuve. You know, you get a chance to win a world title, you take it.
Yep.
I don't care who you are, who your teammate is. That's it.
Yeah. This also makes it really tricky for Max to win the championship now. I mean, he needed to get McLaren to really mess up every single race.
Yeah. Well, that's what I've been saying all along, which is, Piastri is going through a mini funk in this last 2 rounds, but he's done the best out of a bad job. And the truth is, as you say, Verstappen, Norris needs to keep doing this, and he's done it today to get it equal, effectively, 1 point. And now it's a straight fight, yeah. But Verstappen, how many points is he off? He's still got some work to do, right?
Yeah.
But he'll still take points away from him.
Yeah. So let's go to the Drivers' Championship because you're right. I mean, it's not enough for you to say he's out, but so he's 321 to 357, 320 356 for Piastri, 357 for Norris.
It's not that he's going to win the title. It's that he could basically get in the way of one of those 2 drivers.
Yeah. So coming into this weekend, he was 40 points behind Piastri, even though he was, with Lando in between. Now he's 36 points, so he only gained 4 points.
Yeah.
And that's not enough over the remaining 4 races. So I think bottom line is that unless somebody has a DNF, almost really.
Well, there's 2 sprint races in there.
That's true.
116 points, I believe.
Yeah, there's a lot of math to be done there, but it's definitely a lot harder for Max to win it now. Let's see. But you know what? We talked all about the excitement of the championship, and we've talked about Behrman, but for the Haas team and having this spring forward, but what about the teams that have, that they've caught? I mean, really, if you look at the team standings at the bottom there, Alpine in misery. Sauber, they had another bad race, and with them being behind Haas now, I mean, they had some momentum earlier with the podium from Nico Hulkenberg, but yeah, good points for Haas, I guess. The bottom line.
Ollie Behrman could catch Fernando Alonso in the Drivers' Championship, and he's way ahead of Esteban at the moment. So it's turning out to be you'd think Ocon would lead that team, but Behrman is leading that team.
Yep, that's the big story for the Drivers' Championship down below is Behrman making a big leap.
Yep. And it's pretty tight up there. He could get ahead of up to he could finish 10th in the championship. Could Behrman?
Yep, he's got Alonso just ahead of him, and Carlos Sainz, pretty big leap up to there. But anyway, it was a very exciting finish to the race. Lots of strategy going on during the race. And let's go ahead and take our first quick break. And when we come back, at one point, Chris is going to join us. He's doing some F1 TV, and he'll have some live interviews for us, hopefully. But you're listening to Speed City, back after these messages. All right, YouTubers, let's see what's going on.
George could be a proctologist.
All the booing going on from Lando. Are you guys saying the booing because it could have been Pato O'Ward in the car because it's a McLaren?
Yeah, and he was in the car on Friday, so that's the big hometown hero. And, I don't argue against him. I think Pato O'Ward should be in Formula One. He's good enough.
Yeah.
And I think he'd be a very good Formula One driver.
Gosh, I don't know if you guys heard the Pato Ward interview that Chris did that we played in the pre-show, but it's really good. We got most of it in, and we'll put the whole interview up on YouTube. But it's really good, really good, fascinating insight, because he doesn't just talk and say a bunch of corporate speak. He talks like a normal person, like we talk about the drivers' mics on or off, and he talks that way.
Bill Ricker makes a good point. First lap stewarding mess, ending under VSSC, total overhaul required, and by controlling supply of VPs, no eligible candidates to run against MBS, so no reform.
Oh, good points. That is good points, Bill.
It's good
Absolutely.
Stuff. Yeah.
I'm going to read that when we go back on the air. Good stuff. What else? Anybody else on YouTube got anything? Todd Dauber says the Sky announcers are really confused. Well, anyone would boo Lando. Oh, come on. Let's... FP1 award was in Lando's card. Yeah. Okay, that's what Kevin's saying. Yep. Mike Bowles is in the house. Jack Woodruff. I don't think Max can win World Drivers' Championship, but it should be obvious why any team would make room for him. Yeah, no doubt, Jack. Clearly. All right, here we go. Coming back.
Hello, I'm Jenny Gow from BBC F1. You are listening to Speed City.
Welcome back to the fastest hour in radio, Speed City.
All right, we were just basking in the glow of a championship leader change as Lando Norris wins the Mexico Grand Prix with a 1-point lead ahead of Oscar Piastri. Great day for Oliver Behrman, finishing in fourth. And also, we got to give credit to the whole team, because there were two really fast pit stops for Haas F1. They had a 2.3 that I saw. I didn't see the time on the other one, but 2.3 is getting down there. In fact, that may have been that's the fastest I saw of the race, but they didn't post all of the pit stop times, and I don't see a way to find that on F1.com right now.
Shout out to Dave O'Neill. He helped put that 23-man team together, including some of the equipment they use.
That's true.
The physio and so on and so forth. It's been a work in progress, but they're up there with the rest of the teams now. That's right. And that's what made the difference today.
That's true.
So
it's very true. Yep. And let's see. Yeah, with the good pit stops from Haas, I'm looking at all the pit stops. There were some bad ones. Carlos Sainz had a 5.1.
Yep.
I mean, as an example, Red Bull Gold Standard, the only one that I wrote down anyway was 2.9 for Verstappen. That was in lap 38.
I think there was a 2.6 at one point.
Could have been, yeah.
McLaren.
Russell had a 3.2, a slow one at the same time. Actually, remember, both Russell and Behrman pitted on lap 49 at the same time, so they went to the end of the race with the exact same laps on the tires, and Russell had a 3.2. The one thing that I did scratch down in my notes, did you see the pass when Piastri passed Russell right there at the end? We were talking about earlier where Russell had to swap positions back with Antonelli. But it was a nice, controlled, very slight little drift
on
Piastri's car in other words, he was literally using every bit of the grip.
And we also saw that little surge of acceleration between the two corners.
Russell did.
Yeah, just to make sure he made it stick, basically. No, Piastri did.
Yeah. Boy, I really feel like Russell is going to come out of this. Norris is going to come out of this with so much confidence.
Yeah.
You heard his pre-race, post-qualifying interview talking about how he's going, that was an amazing lap. Maybe a perfect lap. He goes, no, not a perfect lap. Then he goes, well, maybe it was a perfect lap. He was so confident, carrying that with 4 races to go, just taking over the championship lead. If you had to pick a winner today, 4 races out, I'm going to pick Norris.
Yeah, it's a psychological thing, but it can all change. In Brazil, in the
absolutely
in the sprint race,
absolutely. But if I had to pick, if they just, if they both do well, I'm going to give the edge to Lando Norris at this point.
I'm not counting out Piastri just yet.
No, absolutely not. I mean, because, one mechanical failure. There wasn't that long ago we had a mechanical failure.
Unfortunately, that's what's going to happen. Is there's going to be one major mistake or one coming together, and there was plenty of opportunities today. And we've already seen it in Singapore and Austin, where it can all go horribly wrong for them.
Well, I kind of thought we might get one or we could get one. And Alonso had a brake issue, right? I was just thinking about the drivers who didn't finish today. And so Alonso had the brake issue. And Lawson.
Lawson, was playing Skittles with people.
Well, yeah. What was the cause? We'll come back to that real soon.
He had a damaged front wing. He came together with one of the Williams.
That's right. And in fact,
on the second corner.
And it was his front wing debris that we think that was on the track that caused cars and track workers to be in the same space on the track.
Yeah, because he came back out with a new wing and then came back and literally came back in front of came back out in front of two marshals.
Yeah.
And did a very good job of missing them.
Yeah, it looked like that he wasn't coming on in full anger at that point.
Doesn't matter, right?
It's true. I mean, absolutely. It looks like he could have easily...
Human can't outrun an 80 mile
No, but I'm saying he could have easily hit the brakes or avoided had it come down to it, because they weren't super close. They were,
close
about 3 car lengths it looked like? So way too close.
Yep.
And that's really, really scary. And that's what Formula One is typically so amazing at right now. I mean, for a couple of decades, and safety has been really, not perfect, but really great. And particularly in the last few years, they've been amazing at safety. And that was a disaster averted.
I think somebody will get their hands wrapped for that one.
Yep. I would like to hear the unedited versions of George Russell's team radio, just because I've never heard him so vociferous about over their team radio like that.
Not imperious, he was vociferous.
He was not imperious.
Okay.
Yeah, Chris used that last weekend here in Austin, and was it Crofty using that word today?
Crofty can't use big words.
Brilliant!
All right, what else, Jonathan? What I missed?
Not much. I still want to bask in a bit of Ferrari sun. In terms of, I think the last 2 weeks have shown that, that they have a contender for race wins.
Yes.
Yes. They just missed out on pole. Reliability's there. What more could they have done today? I mean, a 10-second penalty for Hamilton, and he still finished in the points. So, pretty good weekend at altitude, which is always it can always put you on the back foot, but everybody else is on that back foot. So, well done to Ferrari. I think that's one of my takeaways.
That is a good takeaway, because I think that Ferrari have to be happy with that finish today, with Leclerc second. And I know that Hamilton had the penalty, but with Leclerc showing the pace of the car, pretty much everything went right for Leclerc. Still didn't get the win because the McLaren is just too quick right now, and Lando's racing so well right now.
Well, if you remember from the press stuff that we did from Austin, what stuck out to me was they have swings of performance, is how they described it, how Frederick Vasseur and Leclerc described it. And we saw it kind of again this weekend, is they're there, but they're not quite there. They're not the fastest car, but they're not darn far off. And so, long may it continue. I hope they have another 4 races, can get second place in the championship and roll into next year with both Hamilton and Leclerc confident, because I think that's what we really need. I don't think Leclerc's form has dipped, especially when the car's not actually been that great. But I think Hamilton now may be able to get to the end of the season and look back and go, yeah, we turned that around.
Yeah, and I think he can say that personally.
Yeah.
That he has come such a long way. So, all right, we are going to give something a shot. Mr. Bob Varsha, also in Mexico with Chris. I'm not sure how Bob's connection is going to be, but we're going to give it a try. Mr. Bob Varsha, how are you, sir?
I'm doing great, thanks. Can you hear me?
We got you loud and clear.
We got you loud and clear.
Great.
How was it?
Epic. Just friggin' epic. I always say that the Mexicans put on the best show in Formula One. they're still out there raising Cain. It's just incredible. I don't know what today's crowd was, but it beat the daylights out of yesterday's 146,000. And the crowds will let you know what they favor.
Yeah.
They want Ferrari.
Talk about
the booing, because a lot of our internet web folk are like, why are they booing not Norris? But it's fairly obvious, right?
Yeah, I think so. I must say I didn't hear the Norris boos, but I definitely heard them for Verstappen.
Well, we were speculating that the Norris boos were because he was in the car and Pato O'Ward was not in the car.
Pato drove the car on Friday, and he could have had a 30-second win.
Yeah, Pato we apparently had an interview set up for him, and he skipped out. So
maybe it was when he was not feeling well. Apparently, he was not feeling well and had to get an IV.
Yep, that's what we heard.
Well, in that case, forget everything I just said about him.
Give him a break.
Did you agree with the takeover? Awesome. When commentary? What was your take? You and the other commentator, who obviously was doing it in Spanish, but what were your takes on the Verstappen and Hamilton incidents?
I think we basically agreed with them.
Okay.
I was hoping that was as far as the stewards would go in terms of calling penalties on guys who are just racing hard. I think they could have let some of that go, but the world we live in right now, I wasn't going to go stomping down the hall where we are to the stewards room and give them a piece of my mind. I don't think I have too many left right now, to be honest. Yeah, I think we agreed that it was a little nitpicky, especially Hamilton's violation for not following the race director's orders about how you get from the runoff area back onto the track.
Yeah.
I didn't see anything quite wrong with that.
I argued that in order to get to that thin sliver of asphalt, he'd have had to make a sharp left and accelerated to do so, which on grass is not a very smart move, and was all in a millisecond. And so he just ended up where he ended up after going through the grass. And the idea of actually getting back and having the forthrightness to, didn't we get told we were meant to go down there? It was all a bit too late.
Yeah, I thought that was an interesting looking layout, that pathway that they chose, because it was not a 90-degree, but not far off.
Well, and had he come, let's say he had taken that road, he would have come straight out on top of those coming out of the film.
That's a good point right there. Right. That may be the biggest point of all.
Yeah, they could definitely widen that escape road, if you will, and make it a smoother re-entry into the track. Just make it a more gentle curve, so you don't drive basically onto the track, as you're saying.
Yeah.
Sure.
We had a couple of people on YouTube. Bill Ricker on YouTube was disagreeing with the stewards. He said, first lap stewarding mess and ending under a virtual safety car. Total overhaul required. And by controlling supply of VPs, there's no eligible candidates to run against MBS. So no likely reform. I can understand that. But...
well, you can tell them, hey, okay, let's redraft the rules.
Yeah.
You write the first draft.
There you go. All right, well, let's get our quick break in really quick, and we'll be back after these messages and get Chris Medland to join us here in just a few minutes. Listen to Speed City F1, back after this.
So, Bob, can you still hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Our man from Joe from Oyster Bay is spot on. He says Bob appears to have sponsors in the form of Alpine Stars.
That's right.
Yeah, he's obviously
lifetime contract.
Hey, you holding out on us, buddy?
Yeah, no kidding. Hell, we got your hat.
Well, maybe I'll ask the guy who. Right. I'll ask the guy who gave me the shirts what his connection is.
There you go.
There you go. Always working. What else on YouTube? Joe says Ferrari will celebrate that constructor's results. Pretty amazing, all things considered. Yep.
Yeah, I agree.
Bill Ricker says Sky announcers are why I sync BBC 5 live on SiriusXM 81 with TV during the race. Mostly listen to Speed City here because chatter during commercials.
I thought Karun was good today. I thought Karun. I actually think he's I hate to say it, but a refreshing change from Martin Brundle, to be honest.
Oh, okay.
I mean, nothing wrong with Martin Brundle. He's done it for 30 years, but
Yeah.
it was nice to hear Karun. And he's younger. I like his analyzing.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah.
In fact, I saw
like-
Karun,
Yeah.
who came up and shook my hand and said something like, I'll see you on the air. And I thought, what? I wasn't aware that he was sitting in for Martin.
Yes. Yeah, he was this weekend. Yeah, he was doing all the grid walks and everything. Yeah.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
Also, the other pundit I really like is Sam Bird.
Yes.
Especially on the checkered flag. More so than necessarily race commentary, although he's very good. But I really like the fact that he doesn't mince his words on checkered flag, tells it like it is, tells you why he likes what he likes. Of course, he's got that association with McLaren from Formula E. But, I really like his stuff.
There we go.
Hi, this is Karun Chandok, and you're listening to Speed City.
Welcome back to the fastest hour in radio, Speed City.
Speaking of Karun Chandok, we were talking about him during the break. Thought he did a good job this weekend. And we were talking about Ollie Behrman. Here's the final vote, it looks like. 41% of the votes for driver of the day go to Mr. Behrman. And speaking of Mr. Behrman, his dad was on the screens. And David Behrman was rightfully celebrating. I got to meet him last weekend.
Yeah.
He's actually seems like a pretty intense guy, actually.
Yeah, him and Lando's dad, very similar.
Yeah. Behrman's dad's even more intense than Lando. Yeah, just
great story though. Great kid. I don't really have anything negative to say about Ollie Behrman. I just think he's great.
Yeah, and he's really settling in nicely with the team right now. That may be one of the best stories in F1 right now. So, what else, Mr. Jonathan Green, about today's race? We've covered a lot.
We've covered a lot. Alpine again, nowhere. Yep. You've got to say that Colapinto's days are numbered after this weekend.
You said that in the pre-show or post-quality yesterday, and I can't argue with that. There are a couple of stories that we put in the show doc that I want to get to. One of them, Cadillac, again this weekend, doing a full race simulation. I saw them tweeting out what they were doing, and including Simon Pagenaud and others back at the factory and getting ready for next year. I mean, it's getting close, guys.
Yeah,
it's getting close.
Well, and that's interesting.
And Bob, go ahead.
Well, as soon as I get my lights ready.
It's coming.
There's a lot of rumors going around this weekend from some people who are very impressed with their own opinions. One of those is that two teams are going to fail next year in a big way. One is Cadillac, because they don't quite have enough people to have a proper factory yet. Who knows if it's true? And the other was Aston Martin. And that was kind of curious because they said Adrian Newey came on so late due to his gardening leave and so on, but they got a late start. And even though you've got all the tools in the world, if you don't have the right people using them, it makes the project take much longer. And I thought I heard somebody chime in and say that Newey basically got there to Aston Martin at Silverstone and basically junked all the work they'd done to that point and began his own project from scratch.
Well, he was one of the claims.
One
of the claims he made was that there was no correlation between the simulator and what they're getting in the real world. They were like two years behind on their simulator. Now, some would say that he said that to motivate everybody and sort of say, "Hey,
you never know what kind of gamesmanship." Like in today's race, McLaren did a fake pit stop, I call it. But you know what I say to the people that are saying the Cadillac's not going to do well? I'm not saying they're going to do well year one, but I heard Mark Royce. There's a Cadillac F1 team started a YouTube channel, and I saw the first video. It just popped up in my feed today. Actually, I didn't even get to watch the whole thing. But Mark Royce, I guess the CEO of GM,
Yes.
he was talking to this exact subject, saying that we're getting a lot of chatter saying that Cadillac's going to fail, and he bristled like like you've seen me, like any good Texan or American for that matter, saying we're not going to fail. Now I'm not saying it's going to happen year one, because that is a tall task, but
as they say at NASA, it's not an option.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
This was said to Mark Royce's face by
No,
somebody?
Mark Royce it was just him quoting the internet, probably. But I think we should ask.
Font of wisdom.
Yeah, exactly. I think we should ask Chris Medland these questions, because he's just gotten through with his F1 TV duties and joined us on the microphone from Mexico, probably only a few hundred yards from Bob. Who knows? He may be in the next booth. Chris,
That's right.
how are you, buddy?
I'm good, but I've run away from the booths. I'm down in the paddock, so if I disappear at any point, I'm reliant on the lovely local phone signal to keep me connected to you guys.
Well, so far so good. Give us your eyes and ears.
Well, my eyes are firmly fixed on a guy called Ao Komatsu, who is currently doing some interviews outside of Haas Hospitality, and I'm going to see if I can grab a word with him when he's done with the latest one. I've already interviewed him, actually, for F1 TV, and most, it must be so. I'm going to see if I can get a second interview, though, for a chat with him. But I'm going to park myself down here, because what a result that is.
Oh, it's fantastic.
Yeah,
result.
amazing. Your signal's dropping a little bit, Chris. So whichever way you were holding your tongue or whatever, put that back. But yes, we talked. Actually, we spent a good bit about the show talking about Haas and Behrman. What a fantastic, what a day for those guys. But yeah, hopefully your Wi-Fi will hold up. Your signal.
It was terrific seeing both of their cars in the top 10.
Yes.
Yeah.
When
Huge.
Herman was like third or fourth, and Ocon was like sixth or seventh.
Yeah. Well, look, I thought that there might be a scenario for a podium for Behrman, which would have been the first podium in Haas's history. Of course, it did tie Roman Grosjean's 2018 P4. So
I'll tell you what I've noticed, and this is no disrespect to Gunter, but that team has tightened up since Io's taken charge. And you know, the reliability issues aren't there. The pit stop failures aren't there. You know,
that's very true.
They are the smallest team in Formula One, and they are, you know, I mean, look at Sauber. You could argue that Sauber have on board some big heavyweights that Audi have brought in, including Binotto and, you know, Oatley and Wheatley, I mean, and many more. And so Haas haven't had this injection of talent suddenly. They've just put Io in charge. For all intents and purposes, he's taken this by the reins and really is turning this team into a, you know, fighting for the top five.
Yeah, and no, this is not bashing Gunther, because Gunther had different strengths.
No.
Gunther had the strengths the team needed at the time.
Absolutely.
Getting sponsors and all those things. But Chris, by the way, we can hear Ao Komatsu's current interview, so your signal, I think, is holding up.
Yeah, you probably can. He's currently doing Sky Italia, who are ahead of me in the queue. And also, actually, I believe that Haas themselves want to speak to him, their own team principal, to get his quote for their press release. So I might be third in the queue now. But he's not moved, I don't think. I did speak to him probably about 20 yards from this spot on F1 TV as soon as he came out the back of the garage and said, I'll be back with my radio mic. And he's not made it to his hospitality yet, I don't believe. So,
Chris, I've asked Bob. I'll ask you. Hamilton, Verstappen, fine with you, all of the decisions that Stewart's made?
Yes, I felt like 10 seconds for Lewis leaving the track and getting an advantage was harsh, but I think it might just be what's in the regs, that there's no leeway there. I thought that he didn't. There was every chance he could have stayed. To get back past that car ahead. Yeah,
we're losing you, Chris.
You actually between the two of them, it was right on the limit. It was right on the limit, but it was good to watch on the whole.
We missed a good bit of that, and you came right back at the very end there.
We got the gist of it.
Yeah, the logist. I like that. I'm going to use that. The logist.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Jonathan was talking about how
if
Hamilton. Go ahead, Bob. Go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, if there were an award, and there may well be, for all I know, for the team principal of the year, that would be a tight race between Laurent Mekies at Red Bull and Ayo Komatsu at Haas.
Couldn't agree more.
Yeah, good point.
And James Vowles should be in there.
I was just thinking James Vowles is always in the running for that. But
good point. Mm-hmm.
And actually, after all the flack he's had, Vasseur should have a bit of should have a nice Christmas. Yeah. If he gets the runner-up spot.
I wonder if there is a team principal of the year award. There must be, right?
Not officially, no.
I don't know.
Okay, well, we're going to have one. We're going to give it away. All right, so Chris is going to drop off and get a Ayo Komatsu. Calling it Ayo Komatsu.
Yeah, I'm running out of things to say. I mean, there was a lot going on, but then we've kind of covered it, haven't we? I guess what we perhaps should do in the last 50 minutes of the show is kind of look ahead in some ways.
Yeah.
Again, another very different track and the high possibility of rain.
Always is
in Brazil. Yeah. Bortoletto's home race, that'll be interesting. And the crowd is going to go nuts, just as they do for the Mexican drivers. I just, I'm trying to look ahead into the crystal ball. The gloves are off now. 1 point between. Like I said, papaya rules has got to be done now. It's like, you've almost got to have a different conversation now, which is, guys, we realize with 4 races to go, it's anybody's race. Our request is, do not hit each other. Race as hard as you feel like you need to, and be aware that you will get caught out by a Verstappen and a Russell and a Hamilton.
Yeah.
And it's not just going to be a 1-2, 1-2 every time.
Speaking of looking ahead, Checo Perez is going to drive a Ferrari F1 car in a test for Cadillac next month.
Yeah, so that's the TBC or TPC car from a couple of years. Yep, from a couple of years ago.
Testing of previous cars, I think.
That's it. Yeah, it's an interesting one because what does he get out of that? I don't know. It's an interesting.
Data.
Yeah, I guess they get data, but it's not a Cadillac, is it?
Yeah. Also, putting Checo back in the car.
Yes.
In an F1 car.
Yeah, that's good.
That may be the biggest thing there.
Yep.
Because it has been a while.
Well, he's got to learn about what Ferrari engines typically do.
Yes. And I think that is something that Hamilton struggled with, is learning the ways of the Ferrari, setup, etc.
And that is exactly why Cadillac is doing that, because Ferrari is their power unit supplier, and amongst other things, probably still, which is why he's going to be in a Ferrari. So it makes sense.
Yeah, they don't bring their own engine until 28, right?
That's right. Actually, no, they're saying they've moved from that, saying by the end of the decade.
Oh,
so
okay.
Now they're not
30.
saying 28, 29, or 30. They're kind of using a vague phrase, which I don't blame them. That's exactly the right. I mean, it is again, what's that phrase again? A giant task.
So they could have the runner-up in the championship's engine for next year and the next 2 years.
Yeah, it's true.
To take on Mercedes. Interesting.
Yeah, it's going to be just great fun to watch the Cadillac team.
And
no
Audi
matter
and Ford
what,
are going to be completely untested.
Yeah. And by the way, this YouTube video on their channel that I watched, on the Cadillac F1's YouTube channel, it was very, very young. A lot of young people in it, had a young focus on it. And it's just a testament to what F1 has done in the last few years, how the audience is so young. And of course, YouTube, pretty young platform.
I was thinking about this morning. If you'd have told me that next year would be a clean slate, a clean slate of rules, and that Ford, Audi, and Cadillac would be coming in to the championship. I mean, wow.
Yeah. Hey,
that's a seismic shift.
Yes. One more thought on the reason the Cadillac testing. Vasseur said the test will give Cadillac valuable experience running an F1 garage and the systems it requires before preseason testing begins at Circuit de Catalunya on January 26th. He said the challenge for them is huge. The issue is not too much about the car, I would say. Strangely, it's more about the logistics to set up a garage, the infrastructure, the IT systems, and so on and so on. I think it's a good test for them to put everything in place. And you talk about Dave O'Neill and how he was, he did those guys a favor, the Haas team earlier, but this was exactly his strength. That's Dave has set up teams, and I think if he had not gotten the gig as an IndyCar team boss, team principal of the Hugo Salinger team, he would have been working for Cadillac. In fact, I know he was talking to them. So
yeah, makes
anyway,
sense.
Friend of the show. But that seismic shift, I mean, look, what if in 2015 you'd said F1 is going to be owned by an American company, have all these different American connections, be as popular in the television ratings we can't even quantify all that. 450,000 people coming to every race.
I know. It's
on and on and on. In the last 10 years, we couldn't have dreamed about it. Hey guys, let's get our last break in real quick, and we'll get some more from Chris, and I think he's probably going to send in some interviews. You're listening to Speed City F1. Back after a quick break. All right, let's see what there's some YouTubers chatting. I saw a bunch of scroll when I refreshed the page. Let's see.
What are they saying? Who met Jay?
Todd Dauber says the booing was because social media thinks McLaren is favoring Lando over Piastri. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Mike and Joe are talking about Jay. I don't know what Jay they're talking about. I have no idea. I don't know what you're talking about. Let's see. What else?
Not much.
Yep, that's all on YouTube. Some really good shots. A photographer showing the track worker almost getting run over by Liam Lawson.
Yeah, that was a very now I've seen it. Yeah, not good. That would scared the heck out of you.
We got a couple of stories in the doc. Oh, I got a good one about Cadillac.
Okay.
That I'll share. I'm going to wait until we come back.
I had a lot more stories, but somebody chopped them out.
No, because they were already at the top. The same one. You had a couple of the same stories we already had.
Oh, okay.
Yep. So what about this? I wanted Chris to be back on because I wanted to ask about the rumors of the cost cap breaches.
Yes. Specifically, Aston Martin?
Yeah, Aston Martin. And there was one. Okay. Chris just sent in IO. Yeah. But who else was it? There was Aston Martin. Maybe the YouTubers will know. There was Aston Martin. But again, it's all rumors. Joe says.
What do you guys think of the way the rookie surge performed?
Here we go.
I'm Liam Lawson, and you're listening to Speed City.
Welcome back to the fastest hour in radio, Speed City.
All right, welcome back. And as promised, Chris Medland has caught up with the Haas F1 team principal after an epic day for these guys, moving up in the Constructors' Championship, double driver points, and best finish ever at P4, tying something that Roman Grosjean did back in 2018 was Ollie Behrman. So let's hear Chris Medland catching up with Ao Komatsu.
Ao Komatsu, grab a seat because you've been on your feet since I spoke to you on F1 TV, actually. I don't think you've made it back to your hospitality yet. I hope it's not getting old to talk about fourth place.
Yeah, it's amazing. Thank you very much, Batman.
Alan Permain in to congratulate him with a big hug. Lovely to see, actually. Permain saying we'll get you next week, but he didn't get you today.
And honestly, what a privilege to be fighting in this tight championship. I used to work with him, and then like Nico Zauber, of course, I have a huge respect for Jonathan Zauber, everyone. And honestly, it's such a privilege to race against all these guys. Sometimes you lose, sometimes you win, but when you lose, you respect what the others done. Like Nico's podium in Silverstone. We actually, as a team, we are very happy for him, although it's against us. So no, honestly, I think it's a wonderful, wonderful championship and testament to the whole Formula One. But I'm just so happy for everyone in the team. Boys and girls, they work so hard. But as true in life, there's more disappointment than joyful moments. But yeah, today, I'm just so proud of everyone. I'm just so happy that we managed to get this result to uplift everyone in the team.
Well, you mentioned that Nico Hülkenberg podium. It's quite often levelled at Haas that you score well, but you don't often have the big result. Today was the big result with a big drive from Ollie Behrman as well. Just how impressed were you with the way he took his opportunities?
Very, very impressed. And then, lap 1, he managed to get through that mess in turn 1, turn 2, turn 3, which is often the case here. So we've done that very well. And then lap 1, Max was behind us, right? So, and then to absorb that pressure from Max and actually put away from Max was fantastic. And then the second stint, again, we had pressure from Mercedes, right? And then we are absolutely fine, didn't make any mistakes. And then we made the right call, I believe, for the second stop. And then again, after the second stop, George was pressuring us a lot. Then towards the end, Piastri. So, those guys are top drivers, top teams, driving slightly faster car than us. But today in the race, we held our own. And then it's just whole thing. From drivers to engineers to mechanics pit stop, 2.2 seconds pit stop, I think, which is the fastest to be done this year. It's just a whole team effort. So, yeah, I just cannot express how happy I am for everyone.
That pit stop, I think, came as well with the pressure from Mercedes coming in at the exact same time. And as you say, you've beaten one Ferrari, both Mercedes, a Red Bull and a McLaren. I think you were a little emotional, weren't you, coming off the pit wall after that race?
For sure, I was. If you don't get emotional about a day like this, when you're gonna get emotional, But no, it's just because everything goes through, how much hard work you're putting in day and night, and then how you are, going through those low moments like Melbourne, etc., and how everyone reacted. All those things come back to you. Now talking about this, I get emotional again. But I just so happy,
And it was a great drive from Esteban as well. On the one stop, making that work, getting some more points for the team. I mean, you're back in this fight, truly, aren't you, for 6th in the Constructors?
Yeah, but like I said, I'm not counting the points gap. Honestly, the best thing we can do is just focus on what's in front of you, which is the mindset. You got to focus on yourself. You got to trust your process, and you got to focus on that, which is exactly what we've done. If we are just chasing for the result, to be honest, we might have stayed out for the second pit stop, but that for me, that wasn't the right call. So honestly, it's really great as a team. We had the bravery to make that decision to stop for the second time to get a P4.
I've just seen you on the phone as well to Ollie Behrman's mum, I think. Just doing a bit of a video call there, celebrating with them. You mentioned to me, actually, when we did the F1 TV interview earlier, that you've got to celebrate these results, and you will tonight. So where's the party?
I don't know yet, but at least we put something on hotel bar, But yeah, the great thing is mechanics, they're not leaving until 7 p.m. tomorrow night, so they can go all out, which is great. Honestly, you got to celebrate these things. It's very, very important. You got to be, you cannot take these moments for granted. This is the kind of thing remind you what we did for. So yeah, we got to celebrate this tonight.
Well, then I'll let you go and do it. Ayo, congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Nice job, Chris.
Good stuff. Yeah.
It's funny. I texted Chris when he first started that interview. I said he sounds appropriately introspective, and Chris, you touch on it. He sounds emotional, doesn't he?
Yeah, I was kind of lucky, I think, with the fact that getting into the TV interviews, we got to him as he came out the back of the garage. No one else around yet. Still fist pumping to anyone he could see. He was, for once, he was delighted to even see me to give me a high five. He was in such a good mood, but his first answer to me on that occasion was so short, and I could see the kind of glistening under his eyes, that he'd been emotional and was rubbing his eyes, and he had to do it at some point in the interview as well. And then, when I brought it up then, as he recalled some of the big results they've had and the journey the team's been on, he had to catch himself again. But he's right, isn't it? If you don't feel that way about a big result like this when they work so hard, we're lucky, I guess. I know we're not always neutral fully on every result. You want the best, most exciting result that you're going to get from a Grand Prix. And on that note, yes, I was terrible with my prediction of how this race was going to pan out.
We all were.
We all were.
Yeah. But we then kind of move on to the next one quickly and look at the excitement where we can take it from each individual team. It can be one week it's great that McLaren win, another week it's great that Red Bull win, another week it's great that Ferrari in the mix. We get that ability to kind of bounce from each one.
Yeah.
But those teams individually only get their one moment in the sun when it comes along. And if they're not doing it one week to the next, that gets heavy pretty quickly for them. They don't get to revel in someone else's success all the time. So I could see why it really means so much. And it was great to see them celebrate it. And then Romain Grosjean was actually waiting as I finished that interview.
That's cool.
A big hug, get a selfie, and say I was really hoping he would beat my P4 from 2018 because that's now the joint highest result.
Yes,
for
it
us.
is. Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, Chris, Jonathan and I were talking. Jonathan was saying how the Haas F1 team seems to have really tightened ship, good pit stops, right? And all that since the shift to Io Komatsu. And I was saying, look, it's a nice timing. Gunther was the right guy at the beginning. He was the right man for the job. Maybe it's that Io's the right man for the evolution of the team. And also it really puts Ollie Behrman in a good spot right now too. He's at a good place at this time in his career. Would you agree?
Absolutely. I had a little chat with Behrman's family as well afterwards because they're all in there celebrating and I'm very happy with their result. But they were interested because I'd interviewed Fred Vasseur earlier and he talked about how impressive Behrman was at the end of that chat I got with him and saying that, he's been quick all weekend, put it all together all weekend. It's not just like a one-off, but also said we see him be strong all season. He's not always had the results. He came into this weekend 18th in the championship somehow, but he's been there and showing the pace that Ferrari were hoping to see, but also understanding that he needs to develop. He needs to make mistakes sometimes. He's close to a race ban. And he actually came here facing questions about, will you change your approach to racing given you're on the verge of a ban? And I think we got a pretty emphatic response to that in those corners with Verstappen and Hamilton and Russell. But I think it does give him that freedom to be able to just make his mistakes if he needs to. But he is in a team that has a car and has the potential now, and maybe it didn't always have it, to get that big result when he does perform well.
Yeah, I just think it's a great story. Great vibes going on at the Haas F1 team. Hey, Chris, right before
everybody wants to,
go ahead, Bob.
I was just going to say everybody wants to work for a guy like Ayu.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Hey, Chris, we're just got a couple of minutes left in the show. We were just chatting about the rumors of the cost cap breaches. Have you heard anything firm, or is it all just rumors right now?
It's sort of rumors. I've heard one team's name come up a lot, and I won't name them because I actually went to that team and said, hey, what about this? The multiple, I'd say sources, but it's always different levels of a source where you really trust them or it's just you feel like it's an additional rumor. And I said, but lots of names have said your team's name in conjunction with a potential breach. And they firmly denied it. They said if there was any sort of breach that they're worried about, then they'd be currently going through the process of an accepted breach agreement with the FIA, which is what Aston Martin has already done for a procedural breach. And that was the stuff out of their hands, and the FIA were okay with that. But it's not been announced yet because everything's not finalised. Whereas this other team was saying we'd be having to have those talks, and we're not. We're just waiting for our certificate. So they think a lot of 2+2 has happened, and people have started finger pointing. But quite often there's no smoke without fire. So I'm watching it closely. We think we'll get more within the next 2 weeks. But in case it is a case of people just jumping to conclusions, I'm not going to name the team at this point. But
fair enough.
If and when we get something, if it is that team, then I will confirm that it was them. And if it wasn't, I'll also confirm that it wasn't.
All right. Well, that's
I love it.
All right. Well, hey, guys, we are out of time. But we had more stories to get to, and we can get to those this week. Chris and I, wheel to wheel on Wednesdays at 7 p.m. Eastern.
Next Sunday, got a special guest, champion from Texas.
That's right, a new FR champion. So we got a special guest, and we do have some more of these Cadillac things that I wanted to talk about. So we got all of that coming up next week and next weekend. But thanks to everybody for tuning in, however you did it, on local radio, on national radio, on YouTube. Thanks to Jonathan Green, Bob Varsha, Chris Medland. I've been Jon Massengale. Also, thanks to our producer, Casey, behind the glass. We'll talk to you next week.
Happy trails.